Another Thunder Thursday on News OK Live. I'm Mike Sherman, sports editor of the Oklahoman. Thunder Thursdays are brought to you by our good friends at Wheeler Chevrolet. Take the drive down I-40, save yourself some time and money. The cast of characters, the usual cast of characters here with us. There's Anthony Slater, our beat writer, columnist Barry Trammell, beat writer Darnell Mayberry, and columnist Jenny Carlson. Guys, usual suspects. Guys, let's talk about the Thunder being behind the 8-ball. I think it's pretty clear that we have a special section theme, if there is a playoff special section theme, and that is the Oklahoma City Thunder behind the 8-ball. So let's start there, and I'll ask you this. What are the odds that the Thunder will actually hold off the New Orleans Pelicans and get that 8 seed? Darnell, start with you.
I'm going 85 to 90%, somewhere in that range. I don't think that the Pelicans have what it takes to hold off the Thunder or catch the Thunder and then hold off the Thunder for that 8th spot. I still like the Thunder schedule down the stretch. Teams like Indiana, Minnesota, Sacramento are on the schedule in 3 of the last 4 games. So I think, given that and the experience of the Thunder, I think that's going to win out. So I put it at 85 to 90% that the Thunder will make the playoffs.
Jenny, coming to you. Odds the Thunder will get that 8 seed.
Well, when you first asked that, I was thinking about in the same range that Darnell said. But look at this, guys. The next 3 games: at Memphis, against Houston, against the Spurs. After what we saw last night, does anybody firmly believe the Thunder is the favorite in any of those games? I mean, they're going to be hard-pressed even with 2 home games against the Rockets and the Spurs. They may lose these next 3, and that leaves them with only 4 games to play. Now, what Darnell said is right. You get the Kings, you get the Pacers, you get the T-Wolves in 3 of those last 4. But I think we could be looking at those last 4 being the deciders. I still think that they do get in, but, boy, last night, that was no April Fool's. That was just ugly.
Anthony, I don't know if Darnell meant this way, but he sort of said the Pelicans hold off the Thunder. It seems like these 2 ships could pass each other in the next couple games, especially the lineup that Jenny said. What do you got as the odds the Thunder either holds on or passes them or whatever, just gets the 8th seed? What's your odds?
I wouldn't go as high as Darnell went, but I'd keep it pretty high. I have the Pelicans schedule in front of me. Their last 7 games: Blazers, Warriors, Grizzlies, Suns, Rockets, Timberwolves, Spurs. That's their last 7 games. So they got a harder schedule than the Thunder do, and I think the Thunder have a cushion right now, and I think should be the favorites. I'd 75% maybe.
All right, Barry, you get the last word on this one.
Oh, I think the Thunder probably gets in. They got a lot to play for. A 4-day trip to the Bay Area. So
they're playing for us on that one.
That's their carrot on a stick, and they might want to go back in the summer, but they'd have to pay for it then. So I'll think they'll probably get in, but this season's going to end early.
Will they get 2 trips to Golden State is the question.
I don't think there's any way.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Well, that was you took my next question, Anthony. You're a Golden Stater. You're a Northern Californian. What's the chances that you will make a return trip home if this indeed is the Thunder's plight of the 8th seed?
I think there's an okay shot because, Serge Ibaka, we saw him today shooting stationary shots, shooting Dirk one-legged fadeaways. There's a chance he could be back early in that series. They've been very good at home. I mean, I know they lost last night. I could see it going 5, but I don't really see it going beyond 5. But I could see them getting a game 3 or a game 4 at home and sending it back to Golden State for maybe the capper.
Darnell, was Serge shooting one-legged Dirk Nowitzki shots because he only has one good leg? And what's the chances of the Thunder even sending it back to California?
Yeah, it was a jump shot out of necessity. He was not putting pressure on the right leg. Even the little running hook he was doing, he was going off his left leg only. So he's still he's still not really putting pressure on that right leg, and I think he's still a ways away.
He worked up to it, and he did a little small 2-legged, jumping, and it was just the most I've seen. But that was Darnell after you left the room.
Oh, okay. The entire time I was there, he didn't do much putting pressure on that right leg. But I'd say 20%. That the Thunder sends it back to Golden State. Of course, that would mean they'd have to win either Game 3 or Game 4. You never know if the Thunder keeps it close in one of those games and is able to pull it out in the end, ride this superb crowd that they got down at Chesapeake Energy Arena to victory in one of those games. But the way the defense is playing, I just don't see any way that happens. Even if Serge comes back, he's going to be in a mismatch guarding a guy like Draymond Green or someone out on the perimeter. So I don't think he's going to be a big impact as people think he might be in that series just because they're going to suck him away from the basket. So I'd say 20%. And really that's just because of the terrific fans that Thunder has here in Oklahoma City.
Barry, is it a chance that this series, a Thunder Golden State Warriors series, would look like what Wilt put on in Hershey, Pennsylvania back in the early 60s? I mean, are we talking about some old NBA type scoring going on here?
No, I doubt it. I think last night was sort of an extreme case, and when the playoffs, the points tend to bunch up and condense when the playoffs start. And the Warriors, they play big-time defense. They're not going to let the Thunder get into the 130s or 120s, I don't think, or 110s. So I think you'll see sort of a normal type score. I just don't think the Thunder can. Keep up because they'll, as good as they've been playing on offense, they're not a great offensive team without Durant. So they're going to go down. And here's the problem: even if they keep it close, what we've seen from Thunder teams in the past is they do a pretty good job in the last minute of pulling out tight games. This team has not. This team has not been good in close games. So they're going to have to, the odds are they're going to have to beat the Warriors in 46 minutes, which is hard enough. They're not going to get those extra two. If you give them those extra two, the Warriors have the advantage. So I don't like their chances at all.
Jenny, are we good to go with this behind the eight ball theme?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm even though I think that there's going to be some anxious moments in the next few weeks, I do think that the Thunder gets in, and it's pretty clear that they are going to be behind the eight ball. We were talking about this theme a few weeks ago, and I think we didn't we look it up, and there have only been 3 teams in the 8-team playoff format that have been 8 seeds to win the first round. So it doesn't happen very often. And, in lots of cases, those 8 seeds were teams that, had lost somebody or several somebodies to injury, got them back, couldn't quite make a push to anything higher, but once they got to the playoffs, they were in great shape. And obviously, we just don't know where the Thunder's going to be come playoff times with the injury situation. We know Kevin Durant's not coming back, but, will they have Serge Ibaka? Will they have Nick Collison? Will they have Andre Robertson? I mean, all these guys that would really be playing meaningful roles in a series, you just don't know where they're going to be. I just think they're going to be really hard pressed to definitely to win the series. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, any more than one game? Anybody see this series going 6? I don't think so.
Guys, in some ways, the most compelling questions for Oklahoma City Thunder the last 3 years have involved or been something like this. Who do they miss more, this guy or this guy? Last year it was Westbrook, or who they miss more, Westbrook or Durant. Barry posed a different question today on his blog. I'll let him introduce it and then say, let's talk about which of these 2 players they miss more. Barry, what'd you write?
Well, I said the way they're currently constructed and the way they're currently playing, they're actually missing Serge Ibaka more than they're missing Kevin Durant, because their defense is so abysmal that they need an Ibaka just to stabilize this thing. Scoring has not been a problem. They've been scoring at a very good, efficient rate. So the way Westbrook's been playing, and Morrow and Waiters and Cantor, I mean, they've got more firepower than ever before, even without Durant. And yet they can't win, giving up way too many points. They need Serge's defense, I think, more than they need Durant's offense.
Darnell, agree or disagree?
I disagree. Kevin Durant, sometimes your best defense is your offense, and Kevin Durant's offense is that good to where teams just can't keep up. If Golden State comes in here in a playoff series, we're looking at that series completely differently just because they cannot guard Kevin Durant. That much was proven in that first half where he had, 30 points in the first half. So, I think Kevin Durant is still clearly the more important player. not just because the Thunder's defense is in shambles right now, but also because he is an underrated defender. He does multiple things, and he puts pressure on defenses so much that he's going to be able to win you games. Serge Ibaka, rarely does he win games with his defense. Kevin Durant wins games with his offense.
Jenny, who does this team miss more?
Well, at the trade deadline, we all were a little skeptical of what the defense would look like without Kendrick Perkins, and then obviously not long after, Darla's like flashing signs. Darla Smith, our high school sports editor over here, I assume it's about Kendrick Perkins. She misses him sadly. But I mean, I think we all sort of wondered, would there just be an unabated line to the goal? And as I think Barry wrote in his column today, 72 points in the paint is unbelievably ridiculous no matter how you slice it. But then when you realize that the Mavs don't have a back-to-the-basket scorer and their power forward is out shooting threes, what the heck is a team that's actually got a big man going to do, or a real drive and kick or drive and score type of guy going to do? And they have had good defensive moments from time to time, but clearly defensive guys are missing. I think they may miss Serge Ibaka more right now. That's unbelievable to say, but they're getting scoring from guys. I mean, 3 guys over 30 last night. So they've got scores. They just can't stop anybody on a consistent basis. Anthony,
last word on it.
I'm going to say Kevin Durant just because, I mean, you're adding an MVP to the lineup. You're completely changing the way the other team has to, adjust. Maybe they have to play a defensive guy, in different positions. But both an incredible amount. I can understand the argument for Serge Ibaka, but it's just hard for me to say it's not Kevin Durant.
I thought we'd all grown an appreciation for defense. I thought if this Perk trade did anything for us, it would make us appreciate defense.
Kevin Durant's a pretty solid defender as well. People forget, 6'10", long-armed, especially last year. He was not that great this year because of the foot stuff, but I mean, last year, part of the reason he won MVP is because he was a pretty good defender.
Hey, I looked up the numbers today for my story in tomorrow's paper. Kevin Durant's defensive rating, 99.5 points given up per 100 possessions. Serge Ibaka, 101.2. So Kevin Durant is about 2 points better when he's on the floor per 100 possessions than Serge Ibaka.
I was told there'd be no math.
Barry, did you not dig into the stats enough when you came up with that opinion?
Well, I did not dig into the stats, but anybody that claims that Kevin Durant's a more valuable defensive player than Serge Ibaka has been eating a little bit too much kiwi.
Yeah, but claiming that Serge Ibaka is a more valuable player than Kevin Durant.
At this point
is all. I don't think. No, like I said, I understand the argument. They're both ridiculously missed by this team. But I would just say if Kevin Durant's Kevin Durant, just throw him on the court, and Now
here's one. Let me say this: if Kevin Durant's here's a way to look at it. If Kevin Durant's in the lineup, maybe Enes Kanter doesn't have to be in the lineup. And if that's the case, well then you got great offense, much better offense, and your defense has gotten a lot better by subtraction. Poor Enes, I like him a lot, but he can't play a lick of defense.
Yeah, I was just going to do a fill-in-the-blank section on Enes Kanter's defense is blank, but I thought we'd try to keep it clean. This is a PG-13 audience, so let's move on. Barry, let's do Cliff's Notes. There's been a lot written lately from the national media about the Oklahoma City Thunder, about our coverage and our relationship with. So I thought I'd get you guys to give us some Cliff's Notes on these stories. Cliff's Notes, you might remember from college, are the sort of the abbreviated version. If you don't study the book, you just read these.
I love Cliff Notes. I love Cliff Notes.
Well, how about it, Barry? Give us the Cliff Notes on the Grantland story and the Thunder's relationship with the Oklahoma City media.
Well, here's what I take away from that story. Brian Curtis wrote a very good story. I don't see anything major that was inaccurate or even really anything minor. But I'm very upset because he made me sound old to the American public. So I've got an issue with young Brian Curtis.
He's not the one sitting on his couch with his glasses hanging halfway down his face.
Wait, there was a retort that I didn't hear. What'd you say, Barry?
He
I
almost went.
didn't say anything.
He was about
He
to say
double
something.
clutched. He double clutched.
He couldn't get the shot off before the 24-second clock expired.
Turnover.
Okay, Darnell, your turn for Cliff's Notes. How about it? The Serge Ibaka Son of Congo movie. I believe you've seen it. Give us the Cliff's Notes version.
A terrific film that shows you a different side of Serge Ibaka that many of us haven't seen before. It shows him volunteer work and charity work in the Congo. It shows him spending time with his 7-year-old daughter, who a lot of people don't know that he has. It shows him spending time with his family and all the responsibilities that he has going back to the Republic of Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and really being the provider for so many people in his extended family, everyone asking him for money. And he's like a rock star over there. I mean, you think he's famous and a celebrity over here. When he goes back there, he's just mobbed, and he's got so many demands on his time and so much responsibility. It's just really a well-done film that gives you a different glimpse into Serge Ibaka, who he is, where he came from, and how he has become the person, the man that he is today. I recommend it for anyone who has the time to take a look at it. It's really a well-done film.
And you can watch that, I still think, at Grantland.com. Is that right, Darnell?
That's correct. It's coming out soon on
It's going to be on
ESPN.
ESPN, I think April
19th, something like that.
Yeah,
Hey guys, I saw a little snippet of that the other day, and I didn't catch it all because I was in a media room, but it sounded like Serge was talking a little bit about when the Civil War broke out and how his family was affected. That's not really something I've heard.
Bit.
Okay, I've not really heard him talk about that much.
A little bit. It doesn't dive too deeply into that, but at one point he talks about that time period.
Anthony, give us your Cliff Notes version of the Sports Illustrated story by Lee Jenkins on Russell Westbrook.
Very good. Worth reading. It'll probably take you 20-something minutes, so better than just listening to me talk about it. You probably should go read it. Lee Jenkins is a great profile writer, very good reporter, and he reported on a ton of Westbrook stuff. I think got to sit down with Westbrook, talk to some other people. The guy that recruited him at UCLA, Oscar Robertson, got some good quotes, and then kind of weaved it all together into a really tightly packed, great story. So, you should read it.
Darnell, you've been to Luzinger High School. You've written a lot about Westbrook. What did you see in there that we didn't already know or learn or report?
It was a couple different things. The things that really stood out were how Lee Jenkins solicited some of Westbrook's thoughts on his mindset and how his game has changed and transformed over time from this reckless rookie to this, incredible, magnificent MVP candidate. I really loved the story. I thought it was a beautifully written story. I thought it was extremely well reported. The 15-foot pull-up jumper, Westbrook calls his cotton shot. Little anecdotes like that really just gave you a look into Russell Westbrook's game, how he sees things differently now than he did when he was a rookie and leading the league in turnovers annually. So, just a really well done piece. I agree with Slater. You should definitely read it.
Guys, the thing that and I haven't had a chance to read it all yet, but the thing that is interesting to me is how, I don't know, maybe, and I'm not there every day like Anthony and Darnell are, but Russell always strikes me as a guy who doesn't always love to talk about his own game. So him getting inside his own game and describing it for somebody is pretty rare by my estimation. So that alone should probably be reason for people to check that out.
I liked what he had to say about what happened inside Pauley Pavilion. Actually, the guy who was working with UCLA and said there's some kid out there flying around like a bat out of hell, but we need to go out and recruit him or look at him and all that stuff. That was kind of cool stuff. Darnell had echoed some of the things you've written based on the scouting of him, the recruitment of him, but I thought it was all very interesting. Guys, let's end up with a couple look-aheads. Of course, we're looking ahead to Friday night in Memphis. Guys, Barry, I'll start with you. If the Mavs can do 72 points worth of damage in the paint, what can Gasol and Zach Randolph do to the Thunder?
Well, I don't think they'll come anything close to what Dallas did. Dallas has a bunch of good offensive players, and what Dallas can do is they can drive, they can kick, they can pick and roll, shoot outside. Parsons and Rondo and Ellis and Dirk. That's a bunch of good offensive players. So I think they're far advanced from Memphis. Thunder's problem at Memphis is they're going to get guarded so well, they're not going to get 135 or 125 or 115, and they're going to have to win this game 101-98 or something, and they're probably not going to be able to.
Another issue at Memphis tomorrow, Steven Adams sprained his ankle late last night, didn't practice today. He's questionable tomorrow. If they don't have Steven Adams tomorrow, they're going to have 12 fouls. Ennis Cantor's going to start at the 4, or McGarry. They're going to be the front court is Cantor and McGarry. And then the only guy that I guess technically you consider a big man backup is going to be Perry Jones.
Ouch.
And they're going to be, so they're basically going to have 12 fouls and just nobody to guard those big guys if Steven Adams can't go.
I'm going back to my 72-point over-under. I might bet the under on points in the paint, but it might be a lot closer than we think. Hey, finally, guys, let's get an opinion from everybody. Our old friend Jimmy H., as Barry calls him, home James Harden, is coming back to Oklahoma City on Sunday. We're working on a package, 13 reasons why the James Harden trade will never go away. So let's ask, what would it take to make the James Harden trade go away? Darnell.
How about a sports editor that won't bring it up every year he comes to town?
Jeez.
Under the bus I go.
No. In this case, I actually agree with you because you got the two of the top 2 leading scorers in the league, 2 of the top 3 guys, more than likely in the MVP race. We didn't bring this on; they did. The way they're playing. It's only natural to look at James Harden and say, wow, what if?
What if? How about it, Anthony? What would it take to make it go away, to erase it from our memory, to keep me from bringing it up?
If they won a title next year, because it's not going to be this year, it doesn't look like. It'll probably stop getting talked about, because the big thing people talk about is the trade made it so they could never, it took away their chance to win a title. So if they won it, that would take away that argument.
Jenny, can it ever go away? Will it ever die?
Probably not. It may go down in degrees, though. I think a big part of the narrative that goes around the NBA league-wide is that the Thunder wasn't willing to pay for James Harden, when in reality they were willing to pay nearly what the Rockets ended up paying. They just couldn't quite give him that max deal. So, if they back up the Brinks truck for Durant and Westbrook in the next couple years and pay them, big money and then continue to build around them, maybe that lessens the degrees to some, extent. But no, it's probably never going away, especially if James Harden wins the MVP or the Rockets win the NBA title or something crazy like that. Would happen before the Thunder would get a championship.
Barry, I keep reading stuff that it says that one of the Thunder's problems is it didn't anticipate the cap exploding, the new or TV deal, which is going to fill the league coffers and send the salary cap soaring, and that's one of the reasons why it was such a mistake. But I'll close with you. What would it take to make all this go away and make James Harden just another player in Oklahoma City?
3 things. What AC said, win a title. Number 2, if Steven Adams or Jeremy Lamb can get themselves inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame wearing the Thunder jerseys. Number 3, if James Harden in the next year or 2, maybe even 3, can get himself arrested for a high crime against humanity. Outside of that, I don't think anything makes it go away.
The James Harden trade, it will always be with us. That's all for this edition of Thunder Thursday, but you can stay with the best coverage team anywhere, every day at News OK and every morning in the Oklahoman. Thank you, guys.